I wonder if they make a tofu turkey.
Dude, I don't know if they make a tofu turkey.
Okay,
so we're live, by the way, Richard. So
oh, we are.
Yeah, we're live talking about turkeys. That's great.
Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, right?
It is. It is. So
I wonder for veggie guys if they make like a tofu turkey.
A tofurkey.
Big block of tofu.
I wonder if Jake's gonna eat a tofurkey because like the Gagnes are all vegan, right?
No,
aren't they? Isn't Jake and Mark vegan?
I think Jake eats certain kinds of flesh, but it's probably just wants to make sure it's all without any of the add-ons,
right?
No additives,
right?
No octane booster.
no GMOs.
Yeah, I don't talk to him about his diet. As long as he's fit, and ready to race, that's all we care about.
Okay, so for real, everybody, good evening. I'm Dustin Coiner from TrackDaz, and I'm on again with the Superbike genius himself, Richard Stanboli from Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha Racing. What's up, Richard?
The day before Turkey Day.
It is.
Everyone's gone at the shop. Walker's gone for his winter break. He'll be back in January. So.
Yeah, Walker said he had some weird projects at the house he was going to take care of. He's got like some 2002 Suzuki 750 he wants to bring back to
yeah, I keep teasing him about the soundproof basement with all the buckles on the walls,
Right.
So you never know.
Yeah, Walker's in Birmingham, which is, it's really funny. I guess he lives like a mile and a half from that crazy restaurant that we went to.
Oh yeah.
Dreamland barbecue. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, cool. We go to Barber, we'll definitely know who to hang out with.
Is that the one that's outside?
No. This one
is that inside and outside, indoor and outdoor?
No, this one is all indoors, man. But it's like deep in the downtown area, kind of.
Oh,
we drove there at night, so it was kind of different.
Yeah.
The
semi-high-rise part of
for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about you guys had a recent test. You got to try a new shock or something with Jake, or new tires. That's what it was.
Yeah, we're testing tires for Dunlop. They rented the track and it brought us out. And when we were talking early on with them about testing tires, we knew it was going to be after the last event. So
right.
Jake was still under contract, so we decided, well, we'll bring Jake. And then Hayes was really upset with the fact that we put Tony on the bike instead of him. And there's some backstory to that, and I won't get into that. So I said, hey, why don't we put Hayes on the bike for the test? So we kind of got with him, and he didn't even know it because Tony's like, yeah, we'll do that. And I guess Tony never got a hold of him. Tony from Dunlop, Tony Romo.
Nice.
And then I'm like, hey, you gonna be there Thursday? He's like, where?
Yeah, he told me, he's like, hey man, they just told me yesterday. And he's like, I was riding motocross. So I was like, what?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, yeah, they kind of mentioned something, but I didn't hear anymore at the banquet. I said, oh,
yeah.
I thought it was done deal. So anyway, so he was able to come out. And then I thought, man, Greg White got a chance to ride the bike. And so might as well have the other guy in the booth who's supposed to be the expert,
right.
The expert, honestly. Ride the bike and see what his opinion is. So we had all three of those guys, and I didn't even think about it at the time, but it was actually the first two Attack Performance road race champions. Jason Pridmore winning the first championship for us, and then Josh Hayes winning the second championship for us. So it was pretty interesting having the first two champions, and also Jake Gagne, the very most recent champion. And
I was impressed with both those guys too. I mean, Cam Peterson was out there with the M4 guys, and Josh was ahead of Cam most of the time, and then Cam kind of bettered him. He should. Josh hasn't raced in a few years, and but Josh was right there. I think they were within a couple of tenths, right? I mean,
I think he finished slightly ahead of Cam.
Yeah,
but I mean, like thousands or something, hundreds.
Yeah.
They were pretty much 40 flat. What was it?
44-1.
44 flat, 44-1, 44-01, maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
And what was impressive was Jason. he hasn't run at that pace in a while. And he went out and he was kind of having a little bit of fun. And then I showed him some graphs, and the racer in him came out and he went out and busted out a lap. And got within a couple seconds, 2.5 seconds, I think, of Gagne's fastest.
Yeah, I think he did a 45 something, which is pretty impressive for some dude that's talking into the TV all the time, you know.
Well, he does ride a lot, teaches a lot too, right? But
yeah,
you know, that was when I remember back now when Jason was riding for us. One of the struggles was he would teach at the school. So when he got off the school bikes, they had Star School at the time. Remember that? And it was him and Gallardo, and they had that Star School, and he'd go out and teach, and he would do that quite a bit between races. And then when he had to kind of switch back into race mode when he got to the racetrack. So it wasn't like a guy who was dedicated to racing at that level all the time. So it would always take him a session or two to kind of get his head back around it. And it was kind of the same thing, but exaggerated by a bunch, you know, at this event. So it was kind of fun to work with him. I worked with him pretty much exclusively with a little bit of help on the Josh side, and then Jake was doing his thing with his guy. Right.
And then, you know, end of the day, you let me throw a leg over that thing after me badgering you since 2018.
Yeah. You know, I thought you were going to start crying like a little girl if I didn't let you ride that motorcycle.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Okay.
I probably would have.
I would have stomped out of there like a little bitch.
Like Greg White rode it at Brainerd, you know, you were pretty. I never seen someone so jealous.
Oh man, I had the dagger eyes for Greg White at Brainerd so bad, dude.
I know.
But well, it was
at least you got a chance to ride it and get a feel for what it's like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, it's quite a bit different than I expected it. I mean, I didn't expect it to be so different from what I'm used to, because the bike that you guys built for me is pretty damn fast. It's pretty insane, actually. So going into it, I'm like, okay, I've got the same rake kit and steering head. I'm running triple clamps. Like, the thing is, my bike's pretty legit, dude. It's like a GP bike compared to my bike, dude.
I mean, the thing's on a knife edge, right? So that's the way it should feel.
Yeah, I had never ridden anything that accelerated off the corner that hard, and then also on the way into the corner stopped so amazingly. Like I felt like, I told you afterwards, and I think I told this to Darren Marshall too, but I felt like a slug on the thing. I felt late for everything. I was overslowing all the entries. I was wearing myself out trying to hang on to the thing. So
it was the same type of reaction with Jason and Josh a bit, you know.
Yeah.
Josh had just come back, I think, from motoing, and so he was a bit tired. He just drove in. It was a one-day test. I wish it was 2. I told Romo next time we do it, because it was so rushed.
Yeah.
Throwing tires at it, going 5 laps and getting opinions and things like that. So it just felt really rushed to go in there that morning, set up,
right,
tear down and go home.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got I tried to go and just bang out a bunch of laps on the thing in a row just to kind of get the feel. Like, we didn't get to make any changes or anything like that. I didn't really get time to get comfortable on the bike, you know, but yeah, I think given another day, I'd figure it out more, but it's just amazing. Like, the thing is just, it's pretty awesome. Like how you're set that thing up, the length of it, like, you could feel it's longer. It wants to be in the corner. It like hooks the corner. It's, yeah,
for a long bike, it turns really good.
It's the business, for sure.
I gotta give Cameron a lot of credit for that, because he helped get us from 19 to 20, and you know, basically take what we learned a little bit off of the factory bike and what we had on our bike, and kind of mash the 2 best parts together, along with some components we were able to borrow from the World Superbike team, and we were able to kind of get a good feel of the direction and the Dunlops, and have a guy that's really willing to push.
Yeah.
Because that dude rode 10 tenths all the time. You know, he went out and he was flying the first lap. And, you know, Jake had a lot of quirks going into the first season, and then we worked most of that out in this season. But, you know, we'll be working on more of that, trying to get the rider ride the motorcycle the way it's intended, and make the bike come to him a little bit too.
Right.
So I think Jake's done a really good job at that. And but Cameron, I think I got to give him quite a bit of credit for the bike being where it's at, development wise.
Right. So on the way home after the test, I got a call from Darren Marshall, and we spoke for probably half an hour about my data. And I was like, look, man, I wasn't setting a lap record or anything like that. I basically threw myself under the bus. And he's like, no, dude, like, you did fine. Like, nobody expects you to do anything but like bring the bike home, man. Like, I mean, you really, like, I was kind of scared of you a little bit. Like, I know I would never hear the end of it if I chucked that thing down the road. So there was that in my head too, but that wasn't it. It was just, honestly, I was mentally not ready for that bike. I've been training my balls off on the bicycle since then, because I'm like, dude, if I ever got the opportunity to ride that again, I'm not going to let that thing hurt me.
Yeah, I mean, Jason and Greg White, they had one of their blogs. They talked about the bike quite a bit, in the test, and it was interesting to hear those comments. It was funny because the comments that he had, Jason had, were very similar to the comments that Hayes had, Josh Hayes, similar to the comments Josh Herring had, and similar to the comments that Tony Elias had.
Really?
Yeah, and all in different magnitude. Like it depends how excitable the guys were. There's certain things, which was good. It gave us a little bit of something. And when you put that many people on a motorcycle, you get kind of an idea of where you can improve the motorcycle.
Right.
And one of the things that Jake does really well is he's able to just get to business quickly, and that makes the bike tuned in a window which is all business. But then, and that's one of the comments Josh had, is like, it needs to be a little bit tamer with some of the rider aids in some of the moderate riding areas, because if you're not getting to the business right away, the bike could be a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Not hard to ride, but
a handful.
No, not a handful, but anyway, it takes a little bit of time to understand what the bike needs and just get to business right away. Right.
Yeah, it's I think the word that I used with you, aside from a slug, was lazy. Like, I just felt, and you probably see it on the data too, like I'm late for everything. Like I was like, oh yeah, that's why I don't do that for a living. Yeah, it was an eye-opening experience for me, and I'll never forget that. That was getting to ride your Superbike, man. That was like, you see the smile, right? Like, that was rad. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Always.
So
one day I'll get a chance to ride it, maybe.
I've been telling you, trying to get you to come out forever, but you're always too busy working.
Yeah, there's that.
Your boss is a dick.
I know. Slave driver.
I know, right? But yeah, let's I am totally down with throwing myself under the bus and letting everybody make fun of my data.
So you want to see some data? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's look at some data.
Because Jake, that day, the track wasn't in stellar condition, because I guess there was like rain a couple days before and pretty windy stuff before, so the track was pretty dirty, but Jake still was throwing down minute 42s.
Yeah, 42.8, I think is.
Yeah.
So what do you want to compare it to? Hayes, Predmore, Jake?
I want to let's just do it compared to the man.
All right. Right? Well, let's have a quick. Let me share the screen real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Can you see it?
Oh, by the way, yeah, Mark Gagne's like, I'm glad your sniveling finally paid off.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome.
So here's
Thanks for that,
Jake.
Mark.
Yeah, here's Jake. What section do you want to look at?
You know what?
What part do you struggle with the most?
When you showed us in the race, let's show that turn 2 section, because I kind of cut the corner super tight, and Jake just ran the thing out and picked the thing up. And
okay, we'll zoom up on this section. So this is basically coming out of one.
yeah,
Here we open the throttle. Let me turn off the throttle.
like,
So it's a little easier to see.
Such a
Okay,
wuss.
so now you got RPM. Let me turn off RPM too.
Okay.
And let's leave RPM. So you kind of
Okay.
see where we're at. Let me just turn off some of these min maxes. Okay, so you got RPM up here. You kind of see where he bangs it against the limiter
Yeah,
up in there. So he's getting the most out of it coming out of turn 1. He's full
Yeah.
throttle coming out of there. He gets into
Yeah.
2, gets it committed, and then bang, straight to open throttle, and holds open throttle all the way down that little wheelie section there. You can see here,
Yeah.
this is the front wheel speed. and
yeah,
this is the rear. So you can see where the front wheel speed slows down and then picks back up again.
yeah.
the
There's
front
that little wheelie bump
wheel
thing.
wheeling. Yeah, that's the front wheel wheeling. And then he's on the brakes and then through the little flip flops.
Right.
So let's turn you on real quick.
Oh my God, this is gonna be embarrassing.
Yeah. So this is you, if you can kind of remember what he had. Not very squared off, barely any throttle. You know, just get to full coming out of 1. And
Yeah.
then barely any RPM, like 11.7. And you're coming through there in second. You know, so he's coming through there in second. So you can imagine he's at the limiter. So you can imagine how much acceleration he's using coming out of 1. And then boom, into the next corner, you go to first, same as him. And then you're kind of not getting in full throttle. Maybe you're not pointed right because you're in so tight. Can you see the section right here?
Yeah, I can see it.
So let's blow this up and kind of have a look. So you kind of see right in this area right there. See how tight you are?
Yeah,
He carries it out and then hooks it back in, and he's on the full throttle right in this area.
right.
You're just carrying this little tight line and you can't get the full throttle.
Okay.
So we'll go back to putting this guy back.
So the line I'm taking is like making me wait, basically.
Yeah, you're waiting. So you kind of right there. You can see right in this
Yeah.
area. Then you go over here, you're just waiting. And then you accelerate out, and away you go.
Oh man.
Yeah, so let's do an overlay. And
Okay.
so here's the overlay. So you can kind of see his throttle opening.
Yeah.
Boogie, you get that red where it's top. That's all the throttle opening you get.
Oh man.
He's on throttle from there to there. So if you have to look at time,
Oof.
you're looking at let's switch this guy to time. So he's on full throttle there from 7 seconds into the lap to 9.9. It's almost 2 seconds. You're on full throttle from let's see here, from 9.3 into the lap to 9.8. You're on full throttle half a second versus almost 2 seconds. You can imagine how much acceleration he's getting. And then look at the speed down here. Let me switch this guy back again. Look at the speed.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see what you're doing. You're kind of rolling the corner. He's actually a little bit slower in the first part of the corner, and you see him getting in there and he stops. And look how much more speed he picks up on acceleration now. He fires the thing out of there. So he gets in a lot faster. You see this?
Yeah.
And brakes a lot harder, stops the bike, and accelerates out a lot harder. And then
Well, it's interesting you say that too, because like watching it from the sidelines, you know, watching him while Josh and JP were out there.
Yeah.
I said that to Josh on the phone like last week. I was like, dude, Jake looked like he was more patient than anybody. Like he was slower than those guys even.
Yeah, when he gets in that, well, we can look at that too. Your apex speed here in turn 2,
yeah,
a little slower than his, but you're in the tight line. Not a whole lot slower, but look at how much faster he's going. The blue is him. That's
right.
How much faster he's going up here, like ridiculously amount faster coming out of 1.
Oh man.
Yeah. So then if you take that and you blow it all up, and you kind of see where the speed, like especially through what do you call that, Riverside, and that what's that left called right there.
Well, Riverside, that's that little kink after Riverside.
Oh, okay. What's this guy called?
the right hander is Riverside, and then that little left kink where the X is.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know what you call that.
Well, you can kind of see this is another area where you lose a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so you go in here and you chop, like you get full throttle coming out of Riverside.
Yeah.
In that left-hand kink, whatever you call that thing. You chop and hold.
Oh man.
Gives it a big squirt of throttle again. See that blue?
Yeah.
And then another big squirt of throttle again as he gets headed towards that right hander. Where you see you're just like slow through there, basically. How else to describe it? The bike could do a lot more through that section than you were willing to give it. Of course, you only have a handful of laps on it. And I know you were faster on your own personal bike.
I mean, I actually gone faster than I did on this bike on a stalker.
Yeah, so you were just getting a feel for it. You kind of see where you were
intimidated. And you know, like
the word I was looking for earlier was intimidated. So when you ride one of these bikes, you can't get to it right away. All the rider aids and all that stuff's a little bit intimidating because they are pretty strong. They're made for a guy to ride them really hard.
Right.
And, so the rider aids have to kind of match the torque control rider aids, how much input you put in the bike. And Jake puts a lot of input in the bike. He rides it really hard. So therefore, we have to dumb it down. We have to control it quite a bit.
Right.
If we control that much for guys riding around half throttle, then the bike will be slower. And they'll be scared to push faster. But that takes some getting used to, you know?
It does. It does. I like going through that Riverside corner. I just felt like I didn't feel comfortable on the front or something. It felt just like bleh, like in there, you know. I tried it in third. I tried it in fourth. Neither felt comfortable.
Well,
I think I had to back up a little bit too. Like I think I needed to come out of that bus stop better to be in the right spot or something. I don't know, but
maybe the bike will do it.
Oh, so, clearly, somebody else riding it.
Yeah, it's one section where he would do that third, fourth thing, boom, boom, right here.
Yeah.
Third, fourth, right away. You were a little bit lazier on getting to fourth.
Yeah.
Some guys like the RPM through there for whatever reason. They don't like a bike that's kind of low in the RPM band.
Gil Ramos says that I was conserving fuel for you guys.
He's doing what?
Gil said that I'm clearly conserving fuel for you guys.
Yeah. That VP is expensive. Gil's funny. He would turn his photo at an angle so he looked like he was leaned over more.
That's definitely the truth. That's Gil is one of those individuals that has gone the same speed for like 20 years.
Well, that's good, because if I was going the same speed as I was going 20 years ago, I'd be pretty fast.
No, but like he's not fast. Like he's
so you're slow then, he's slow now.
Yes.
Poor Gil. He's not here to defend himself.
He's watching this crap, so I'm sure I'll hear about it later.
Yeah. So anyway, then you can see here where you're kind of a little bit late into the braking zone compared to him, and then a little bit. It's just all the same thing. You don't brake hard, you don't open throttle hard, you don't open throttle long enough.
Basically, I'm fat and sluggish and late. And Jake's sub-professional champion winning Superbike racer.
Yeah, basically. You want to see a race between you guys?
Oh, God damn it. Sure.
All right, there you go. Ready? Let's see. Let me blow this thing up so you kind of see it. There you go.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
All right, you guys are going to race now.
It's a race between me and Jake.
Jake's obviously the turquoise looking color thing, and you're red.
Yeah.
And so, you guys are kind of together in the same corner.
Yeah, and then watch what he does. He just destroys me on the I-5 straight.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, it kind of parallels I-5, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then through that flip-flop, he gets through there pretty clean. And then all the fast stuff, he just takes full advantage of the chassis. Like there's a little wheelie section right there, right? So
yeah.
He's wide open over that. You roll off. And then through this section here, he gets through that left really quick. And then that flip-flop right, where he really does destroy you is the fast stuff.
Yes. in one lap. This is insane.
Yeah, this is the outlap.
Like, it makes me want to go to the corner and cry to myself.
Well, I mean, you're not a professional racer. You go to your club races and you have your track day and you're having fun.
Right.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Professional racing is pretty stressful. It's stressful on the crew, stressful on the rider. The guys enjoy it, they're going to do good. The guys don't enjoy it, and they go ride a Ducati.
Wow. You said that, didn't you?
Of course I said that. Why wouldn't I?
Because you're you. Of course you said it.
Yeah. So anyway, so he finishes the lap there, and you're still going down that last straightaway to the left-hander.
Yeah.
In one lap.
He's already like up on the stands at the warmers by the time I come across the line.
Yeah.
Good times. Wow, that's really interesting. But yeah, like the Superbike, a lot of people think one way about the thing, and it's a whole lot different when you actually get a chance to ride one. It was quite eye-opening for me, but it was also like I had a perma smile on my face for like a week after. Just thinking about it now, I'm like, man, that thing was so cool. Like, yeah. So thank you again for that, man.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, somebody, come on, Wedrick, you commented and retracted it, dude. Really? Lame. Okay, so anyway, so you're planning on building a bunch of R6s. You got what, 13 of those bad boys over there?
Yeah, I guess they call it a baker's dozen, right?
Well, yeah, because you got to build one for yourself, but you're actually building a couple.
We're going to build 3 for Daytona.
Yeah.
So 2 in a spare, and then we're doing another Daytona bike for another guy.
Okay.
And then we're doing another one for another guy, and then we're taking, orders on the rest of them.
Okay.
So we're slowly getting all the pieces together here. We all top shelf stuff. I think I sent you the list.
Oh yeah, I posted on your Instagram for you, but I looked at the build sheet on that thing, and it's a pretty serious motorcycle, man. Like you get the cams and the stacks and kit gaskets.
Yeah, the big radiator oil cooler combo.
Yeah, that was interesting too. Like that radiator is super expensive, isn't it? It's like
$2,300, $2,200 a lot.
Yeah.
So we're packing it with a lot of good stuff. So that way, when the guys go out and race it, they're ready to go. They don't need to buy anything extra for the motorcycle.
Right.
Some spares, like some spare wheels or whatever.
I read Ken Hill made an interesting comment about the R6s and stuff in that new Supersport class. Mm-hmm. And Ken said something about like, there's a lot of guys talking that they're going to have to spend all this money to bring their bikes up to spec. And quite frankly, if you're at the front or near the front, you probably should, right? I mean, like Smith, right? Smith's the guy that rides an R6.
You mean the guy that Mark Belt works with?
I think so.
I talk to Mark on a regular basis.
Smith, I think his name.
Yeah, we might be supporting Mark a little bit with some of the technology and things like that as we build share some information.
But like the lap time that you're going to gain, if you're, sorry, Tony Blackhall, but if you're Tony Blackhall, like, is something like this going to help him lap time wise in the qualifying, or I think
anything on a 600 that gives you a little bit more power is going to help you. Okay. With the leader bike, not so much, because we have more than we can use.
Right.
The amount of torque cut and things we're doing, torque feeding, we're controlling the rear tire a lot. How much you wear it out. But with a 600, you're pretty much pinned everywhere. If you have a good chassis, you're getting to the throttle pretty quick. Yeah. And so the little bit of boost you can get will always help. And it's also about what RPM range the bike will work in. So if you have camshafts in the bike and all of a sudden the thing is not rolling over and RPM is pulling all the way to 16,000, your power band may be from 12 to 16 on a 4,000 RPM range. Yeah. And you'll be able to keep in that area. You'll be able to run with just about anything out there. A good example was in 2014. We were helping the Riders Discount guys. We won Daytona 200 that year.
Yeah.
If you remember, that was a Triumph.
Yeah.
That Triumph had to have on our dyno 15 to 20 horsepower on R6.
Wow.
We didn't win every race. We won Daytona. I think that was it. The rider wasn't a slouch. It was Danny Eslick. So it wasn't like we had a new guy on the bike. But I don't think the horsepower or torque or all that stuff from those other bikes will make the big difference if they don't have the revs. Like that Ducati that Josh Heron's gonna be riding, that thing has, I think it revs to 11 something or 12,000 RPM. So I think the cutoff's supposed to be 11 and some change. So I think it'll be a struggle to keep that thing in the power band, not have it dip down too low. And where I think the Yamaha will have that broad power band. It's like less power, but you can use the peak power more often, if that makes any sense to you.
Okay. So, I mean, I remember like I haven't had an R6 in several years now. I've been doing the R1 thing since 2015, but my last R6, you guys built it and it was pretty healthy on your old dyno, but still on the new dyno, it's still probably only make about 120, right? I mean,
yeah, I think that's about it for the R6s or somewhere in that range.
So what do you think?
We know more about what all the stockers are making.
Yeah, what do you think these new ones are going to go for?
Yeah, it's hard to say right now because we're still working on stacks, timing and numbers like that. So I hate to throw something out that's not accurate. Better than that.
Better, more,
considerably better. The important part is how the horsepower graph is shaped. So it may not be the ultimate peak number, but it's going to carry all the way to peak RPM. So you're not giving up stuff over the top of the horsepower. So those things are very important.
So really quick, Wedrick, the guy that retracted his comment, he posted it again. And he said that Jake gave me a voucher to Gapplebee's on the I-5.
Applebee's?
Gapplebee's.
Oh, it's like Applebee's? I get it.
Anyway, one of the things I saw on the build sheet too is that you have a CNC head?
So they're allowing the new gen rules. We've done this in the past for like the World Supersport spec stuff, where we go through and we CNC the combustion chamber, align the combustion chamber basically from cylinder to cylinder, so things super accurate compression wise for every cylinder. Then they allowed us to go in and do a little bit of the pocket, like a little bit into the pocket for the valve job. So we'll take advantage of all the rules they give us. And there's a little bit of match porting we can do at the intake manifold.
Right.
So we'll take advantage of all that. And the other thing too that they're allowing this next year is the velocity stacks, which makes a pretty good difference on the R6. And we'll run the latest, greatest World Supersport acro pipe on these bikes. Nice titanium World Supersport pipe. And so keep the thing cool, keep it revved, and nice oil cooler on it. And we'll see what she does. But we're going to run it at Daytona and we'll see how it goes.
So you're gonna bust out your old Daytona quick change stuff that you've had in the attic for years.
Yeah, it still says Kawasaki on it, I think. We sticker.
Yeah, you're gonna have to re-sticker it, but yeah.
Yeah. Now we got the boom, the guns, the nitrogen bottle. We got all that stuff. 2 crates. So we're just sitting there collecting dust. We'll bust all that stuff out. And we got the goggles, the headgear, the everything.
Nice.
Yeah, so we don't have to build anything, So yeah, we had to do a little bit of negotiating with the Moto America to see if we can maybe get the rules a little more to where they were for the sporting rules, because they had it. I think last year they had no pit speed limit, so the guys are going into their pit box full boogie. That was kind of sketchy. I mean, we used to do that way back in the day in the 90s on the 750s, but I think the bikes are just going too damn fast to be full boogie down the pit lane. You know me, I'm not afraid of taking a risk, but I don't want to see a whole crew get wiped. I've seen that before. Yeah. There was this European team that came in with a Ducati, and the guy almost missed it. Well, he did miss his pit box. We tried to turn in at the last minute, and didn't make it and hit the rear stand guy, and then
Oh man.
crashed and took out the whole team, and the bike and everything ended up over the wall. You know, and then I think one guy, his leg broke, and I mean, there was an ambulance there. It was just a mess.
Dude, that does not sound like a good time.
No. And then, you know, they had it where, okay, so to keep it safe, everyone has to jump over the wall, like NASCAR guys, you know? And I'm like, have you seen NASCAR pit crew guys? They're like football players.
Yeah.
They train on that every day. I mean, you know, can you imagine some dude and his girlfriend jumping over a wall, or John Cornwell jumping over a wall to put a tire in? I'm nothing against John, but you know, he doesn't get around all that well sometimes.
We're gonna have to start making Canfield do the pit jump on the regular. Right?
He wouldn't have to jump the wall. His legs are damn long. He'd probably just walk over the wall.
And then you obviously will have Will and Fernando on the pit board or something, right?
No, I haven't figured out who's going to do what. Usually Canfield probably do the fuel because he's so tall, you know, and he'll be able to hold the can there for a while. But, you know, he'll just put on his stomach.
Wow. I'm sorry, Mike. He said it, I didn't.
The big guys can lean back and just rest that thing, you know. This comes in handy.
Yeah, Gil says that wall is tall. No, Gil, it's not tall. You're short. Like,
yes.
Like,
Yeah, Gil needs a ladder to get over that wall.
he does, dude. He really does.
Yeah, so we're going to be able to be in position while the bike is going out pit lane, which is nice.
Okay.
You know, and with a pit limiter on, it'll be a while going out pit lane. So, you know, so we'll be able to get the pit stop done. Another thing too was they had, the rules were they had to do the fueling separate of the tire change, which we've never done that. You know, one time you could do the fueling with the bike running.
I remember.
Like when Jason Prickmore was riding for us, it was fueling while the bike was running, you know, and then you had to make sure that the guy didn't kick in the gear, he'd lose a finger, you know, back there doing the tire change.
Yeah.
So all that stuff was done, and it was done so fast, 7.5 seconds, 8 seconds. The guy never even got a break. He'd barely get a sip of water, and out he went. But now for a while now, the guy had to be off the bike because somebody apparently caught on fire one time. They had a bad can or something, and they lit the whole bike on fire. So now the guy's off the bike, and so now we can do the fueling and the tires at the same time. So we should be able to still get in like the mid-teens on the stop.
Well, the rider still has to exit the bike though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same as we did in 14. I don't know if you remember when we did 14 with that Triumph, but yeah, Eslick jumped off and was like dancing around. And then won the thing pretty easily. And it was a fun race, but yeah. So at least what that does too is when you do the fuel at the same time as the tires is the guys with the faster cans don't get a huge advantage because you only have one pit stop race now, just the tires and fuel, versus you do tires and if you do fuel separately, now who's got the fastest can? You know, so you might be able to pick up another second on the fueling by having a double dry brake, and you can spend a bunch of money on that, which we could do. But I told the guys, I said, honestly, for one race, why don't you guys just keep it simple and just do it all at the same time? There isn't a few teams spending a lot of money on fuel cans and double dry brake gas tanks and things like that.
Right.
You need one, you have to have a spare. So you don't build just one. You got to build a few.
Right.
It adds up quick.
Yeah. Everything seems like everything in racing adds up quick, right?
Well, if you're going to do it for like 2 seasons, let's say like our Superbike, then you buy a set of forks and you plan on using them for 2 seasons, maybe change a part that gets dinged up in a crash, like an outer tube or something like that. Then it's worth it. You can amortize. If you're going to do one race, you know, and you got to buy a bunch of fuel tanks and dry brakes and gas cans and all that stuff, then it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for one event.
So what do you think about this new Supersport rules format? Like I guess it's the Ducati, whatever that is, and then
the 9550 or whatever it is, 955 or 959, I think it is, right? Twin, it's kind of galaxy.
Yeah.
It'll be fast, no doubt about it. And Josh rides those things fast, so we'll see how she goes. You know, there's going to be some restrictions on it. I don't know if they're going to do it right away, so it might be a challenge at first before they get all the balance right. I think that opens up the door to a lot of other manufacturers.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have waited another year or two till all the 600s were dead, but basically the 600s are kind of going away, and all these odd bikes, triples and
Yeah.
twins and big bore twins and all those things are kind of here. And that's your mid-level bike, almost
Right.
leader twins. So that was a super bike back in the day. Remember the Suzuki, what's that thing called? The twin.
Oh, the TL
1000 R.
Yeah.
That thing was a leader bike, and they raced that thing in Superbike. So with Josh is going to be riding Herring, he's going to be riding basically almost the same thing, but with a smaller chassis, and so it should be pretty quick. It'll be interesting to see how all the 600s, go.
So I don't know if this is Canfield, but it's Mike C, and he's asking if the Attack R6s at Daytona will be Pirelli or Dunlop.
Most likely Dunlop, just because we have a good relationship with Dunlop. I'd have to think about that a little bit and talk to Cornwell and see what he feels is going to be because I haven't been there in a long time, honestly, since 2014, I think.
Right.
So not really, Daytona's not a place I really want to go to, but I like that race. And so Jim Allen,
Pirellis. You won the Daytona 200 on Pirellis. There's a bike
twice on Pirellis and once on Dunlop.
Yeah.
And then we won the Supersport race there on Dunlop as well. So 2 times on Dunlop, 2 times on Pirellis. The Pirellis did have a distinct advantage there back in the day. When Chaz Davies riding for us, I think in the test, he was like a second faster than any of the Dunlops.
Really?
Ridiculous fast. Oh, yeah. And then there was no delamination, all that stuff. So, Tony Romo says that they've got the good equation. So we'll see how she goes,
Is it are you guys going to run on a slick or a dot, or what are you going to?
Whatever's allowed. I don't even know. Well, are they all DOTs or are they slicks?
I don't know.
Daytona. I don't either. It's a tire. We'll run whatever they give us. Back in the day, it was treaded, small treads, whatever those little swipes were on the sides. And then when they went to Daytona Sportbike, the DMG nonsense, those went to slicks. And I think we're back on DOTs again. So I think it's going to be DOTs.
Okay.
The Supersport rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see here. There's somebody, Irate Barry. I don't know what Barry that is. I don't know if it's Barry that out of Utah, but there's the trackday circus that we do. We did it this year in July 4th weekend at Utah. And it was like my company and 2 other companies got together and created this like ridiculous circus event. Mm-hmm. And this Irate Barry's wanting to know if we can expect to see the Attack guys at the circus.
What's the date?
Probably July 1, 2, I think, or 2, 3.
Not. We're going to be in the middle of the season then, so our days are so full between races preparing for the next one.
Right.
It's a big deal to just throw bikes in a truck and head somewhere.
Oh, he said it was him. Yeah, Barry's the guy that I can't remember the name of his shop. He'll probably comment on it, but he's like the dude from a dealership in that area.
Okay.
So, yeah. So okay. So no, Barry, I don't believe we'll see the Attack boys at
Utah.
Yeah.
If maybe we racing there.
Maybe we could scumbag Richard into coming and riding.
Yeah. Again, it depends on our schedule and how busy we are in July. It sounds like not really. July is the peak of racing,
Moto United is the name of the shop.
Okay, Moto United.
So there you go.
Probably knows them.
Yeah, I guess they're a pretty big shop in that area. He came out this last one, and he had bikes and stuff on display and all that. So pretty cool little setup.
Nice.
It was a good time. I mean, you should join us, dude. Like we go-kart race too. So I know you're into that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. We could have like beat the Superbike Genius or
yeah, probably won't take much effort. But I'm pretty competitive, man. I might just run you off the road.
I have raced with you in go-karts, and I know this for a fact.
Yes. Leave 2 inches on the inside, I'm taking it.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to run the full course this time. So
okay.
Last time we ran the perimeter, and this time we're going to run the full course, which is like 4.5 miles or something.
Yeah, we did that one year for the Nationals when it was a World Superbike event.
Yeah.
They didn't want, for some strange reason, some weird thing within the world guys didn't want us running the same exact course. So we had to run the full course. And it was, that infield, the little section on the inside, you kind of go backwards from where we did that deal for, it's interesting,
Yeah.
It's a busy racetrack.
It is. I think it'll be fun.
I remember Steve Rapp picked it up pretty quick when we tested there, that full course that year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and I think it was him and Davies who ran that full course.
Okay, so you guys, you're planning on the Daytona 200, and then obviously you're racing Superbike again. You're going to continue with Superbike,
of course. So
we have Jake.
If there was no Superbike, there'll be no attack performance in the paddock.
Wow. There you go. That's heard it here first, folks.
That's a promise. There's no
you've always
way I would show up be a Supersport team.
You've never really been that Supersport guy. I know you raced Supersport a couple of times out of necessity, but you always were racing those tuner classes like Formula Extreme back in the day, and then Superbike. Every iteration of Superbike you've participated in. But you've never really had any or shown any interest in the lower classes because you like to tinker with the bikes.
Yeah, spec classes aren't my thing. Whenever we've done that, it's been a little arm twisting on the part of some manufacturer. We need you to run a young kid in this class. Okay, like a Ben Steves or I think Danny Eslick at the time, Suzuki,
right,
17 or something like that. Or Leandro Mercado is pretty fun though. I mean, he gets his name heard a lot in the World Superbike now.
Yeah,
he was a fun kid to work with, in that Supersport class. So there has been some fun in developing a rider. But as far as the bike itself goes, it's a cheater class basically. It's like, how much can you get away with? I'm just not into that. Let's put everything above board and let's figure it out and let's go racing.
Right.
Yeah.
So next year you've got the champion himself riding on the same bike again. And
I do believe so. I mean, Yamaha hasn't made an announcement. I know who the riders are going to be, but I can't say. But
okay,
for sure, I'm pretty sure Jake knows that he's number one choice.
Right. Well, he is the number one, right? So
yes, there's a number one bike sitting in our shop, still with a number one on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would venture to say that's a safe bet.
Who's the other rider going to be?
Can't say. That's up to Yamaha to announce. The rider thing's their deal. I can tell you we're going to build 2 Superbikes.
Okay.
Probably 4
Superbikes. Yeah. We can't talk about who the second rider is going to be.
Not yet.
Sorry, Marcus Jackson. Still can't say it.
Yeah. So that's going to take a little time.
Gray Fam wants to know if those 2 Superbike riders are also going to be the ones that you're picking to ride the 200.
Yes.
There you go, Gray.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay,
unless
so let's
something changes, of course.
Unless something changes, of course.
I mean, you know how crazy this is. This last couple of years.
Yeah.
Everything's a little bit nutty. So ever since we started doing this Yamaha like official team thing, it's been COVID or this or that. It's been weirdness happening. But we've been able to pull off a couple of championships, which is nice.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen.
So let's talk about silly season stuff besides in your house. There was rumors about that Petrucci guy going to the Ducati team. I haven't seen official word or anything yet, but what do you think?
That'd be awesome. And bring them on.
Bring them on.
Yeah, bring Petrucci here. I mean, all those guys. Bring them here. I don't have a problem with it. Hopefully, I have a good team. I mean, if he was going to ride, I guess it'd be with that Warhorse HSBK team.
Right.
I talked to Bobby Scheck a little bit at that thing we did. I don't know if we talked about that, but we did this little show, like an exhibition race up at Velocity International.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of amazing cars, like supercars. I mean, they had to have literally $1 billion in cars there. Formula One cars of all generations. being driven on the racetrack. I mean, Cobras, all original stuff, McLarens, Lamborghinis. It was just all kinds of prototype supercars. There was two Veyrons sitting right across from my pit. I'm like, hey, there's $4 million in cars just sitting across from my pit. It was pretty crazy. But anyway, Bobby Scheck was there. And so I chatted with him a little bit, kind of encouraged him to, stay the course, and hopefully he's still got a guy like Petrucci, and then his team should be the team he's working with, a Warhorse team that should be quite a bit better this next year. So I wouldn't put anything past them. So we're definitely got our head down, making sure, just like last year, Baz was supposed to be here and just murder us. And that was the talk, right?
Yeah.
No one was talking about Jake. No one was mentioning Jake at all.
Yep.
So we're like, let's put our head down, go test, do all the things we normally do, go the same path we did with Cameron, and that's our result, So we're going to do the same thing going this year. And you can see the parallel development, I guess you can call it, between World Superbike, Yamaha, and us.
Right.
They're doing their thing over there. We don't chat that much. We're not asking them every minute, hey, what's your clicker setting, and what's your this and what's your that. We're kind of doing our thing over here. They're doing their thing over there, and they have Top Rack, and you kind of see how dominant he was all year, and how that bike's come from when they won with VDM, Donington, wherever it was, a number of years ago. So that bike keeps improving, improving. It's basically the same bike since 15. And it's just the constant, evolution of the motorcycle. It's the same thing we do here. So we have a lot of stuff on our plate for going into next season. And we're just going to keep our head down and do that. We're not going to say, oh, we're so much faster than everybody, we're going to kill everyone. No, go into it thinking that, man, those guys are going to come out swinging it, Petrucci style, or even somebody else that's on that motorcycle. Another year into it, they know all the tracks now. They have all the data they can refer to. They had a good rider riding the crap out of that bike. So they have enough spin data and wheelie data and all that stuff. So they should be quite a bit more informed going into the season.
Right.
So if they do bring in a Petrucci style guy, then he's got to learn the tracks. But they're already one step ahead because the bike already knows the tracks, right?
Yes.
Just a matter of the guy going out learning the tracks. The team knows the tracks. So yeah, I don't put anything past these guys. They should be pretty strong. And same with them four guys. I don't know who they're going to have ride those Superbikes on the M4 side. I saw they did announce with Escalante and the 600.
Yeah, they
lock off, right?
Escalante and Lockoff. Lockoff came on strong at the end of the season, and then obviously SDK left to go be teammates with Cam, right?
Yeah.
So, in Moto2.
Yeah, good on him. But I think I don't know, if it was me, I probably would have put Escalante on one of the Superbikes.
Wow.
Because I think he's ready for that. I think he should go the next step up. I mean, he's riding pretty strong all year. I don't know why he couldn't win as much as he did the year before. I don't know all the inner workings and the dynamics of the team. And
I know he was injured quite a bit this season too.
Yeah.
He had some pretty big offs.
Yeah,
that dude tries so hard to win.
Yeah, I think he'd be really good on Superbike. I think he's tall enough. I mean, he muscles the bike. I think I would have put him on a Superbike if I was one of those guys. I mean, maybe they want to put him on a 600 first, and maybe they walk him into Superbike later, which would be nice. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Like I said, Bobby was there at that Velocity International. Hopefully he gets a chance to ride again.
Yeah, hopefully he gets to ride again. I've been talking to him a little bit. I don't know what his plans are. I think he's actually coming to coach another one of my customers this weekend at Button Willow. But this guy Carlo, he owns a pizza place in Culver City.
Nice.
So, yeah, pretty nice guy. Like, actually, I took my family there last week. That's why it's top of my mind. But upscale pizza place.
Upscale pizza. Dude,
it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we
basically. The place in Wisconsin's got my favorite pizza there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's really, really good. I can't remember the name of it, but I always tell everyone to go there.
Yeah, it's called Roberta's.
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 Yeah, this place like an Italian, bakery / deli / little pizza joint bar type thing.
No, this is like a legit restaurant, dude.
Yeah,
like
cool.
Oxtail lasagna and sea urchin pasta, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So anyway, Bobby's going to be there this weekend. I'm going to try to see if he'll tell me any more about what he's doing next year. I don't really know. And then obviously Heron's going to that Ducati V2 thing in Supersport class,
Yeah,
right?
he should be a weapon on that, you know. I mean, he didn't get along with our bike very well, but you know, he had a bunch of podiums.
Yeah.
He had that, you know, pretty big gap to Jake. We could never close that gap. When we got close at Ridge,
Yeah.
which was good, you know, and
Close at Laguna as well, I think.
Not really. Yeah, I mean,
No?
there was made a few mistakes in the race, got pushed back. You know, ran wide and won. I was leaning on Baz a little bit, and he got pushed out wide, and that kind of got him into the reverse mode.
Right.
And he did run the fast lap of the race before they had red flagged it or something happened, and you know, so it just never really got going. Never really ticked with a motorcycle, and honestly, I never really ticked with him as well. You know, I just couldn't get inside his head to really get the most out of him that I could in 18. You know, so it's always that thing with a rider, crew chief, and motorcycle. It has to be a synergy, and it just never came to fruition. We tried, you know, we tried everything. We tried a different motorcycle. We tried a 2018 spec bike, swing arms, forks, clamps, everything the same as 18, and just even with that, exact same settings, exact same shock, exact same forks, couldn't get that 2018 performance out of it. So whatever the hangup was, you know, maybe a good change in direction will be good for him.
Wow. Yeah, I wish him the best of luck, you know. I mean, he's he was a beast in that class when he raced in that class. So
yeah, in the 600s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he's got a big twin, almost 1,000 cc's. You know, he got a 359 cc advantage over 600. You know, so we'll see how that pans out. I don't if you remember back in the day when we ran the first year in DMG in 2009. We ran the Kawasaki's. We had Jamie Hacking and Roger Hayden.
Yeah.
And Danny Eslick was on a 1,200 cc dual prototype bike. They made a couple of street bikes out of it, so they were legal for the class, even though it really wasn't. And so they homologated that bike, and they ran around 1,200 cc twin. You know, and we were able to beat it. It wasn't like the thing ran away with everything, every single event.
Right.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions. Proto wants to know, do you get any input on Yamaha's future products? And he says, like, make a sick R6 4-cylinder replacement.
The 4-cylinder replacement. I don't know if that's in the works. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I've heard some grumblings here and there about an R9, but it wouldn't be anything official. Anyone told me. You know, so right. I don't doubt there's going to be a 900 cc bike that's like the R7. That sounds like the path. You know, same path that everybody else is taking with odd engines. You know, the 3 cylinders and the big bore things. You know, big stroke bikes. But I don't think a 4-cylinder is coming back. Not anytime soon. I don't see it happening. They wouldn't kill the 600, you know, and then make another one. They might. You never know. Like, I'm not privy to all that info. Like, out of the blue, they might come up with something and go, hey, check this out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Vince Urea says, what did you think about Tony on the R1?
Tony Elias?
Yeah.
I liked working with him. You know, I think the biggest thing was, we didn't have a lot of time. We're developing a rider and bike around the rider in the matter of a couple of sessions at the racetrack.
Right.
You know, if we went out and did like a 2-day test with him, I think his results have been better in New Jersey.
Yeah.
He was looking for some kind of feel and chassis that I don't think was possible with what we had. You know, I think his best race was the second at Ridge. He got a second place at Ridge, and the bike was very close to what we normally run. And then as we tried to make the thing a little closer to what he was looking for, like a Grand Prix style bike, it started going away from the comfort zone of the motorcycle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the bike wasn't going to perform in that window. So sometimes the rider's got to come to the bike, and sometimes the bike's got to come to the rider. And then when you get riders that have ridden so many different kinds of motorcycles, like a Moto2 world champion like him,
Yeah.
in a Grand Prix winner like him, they're
Yeah.
looking for a certain something, and that bike may just not be there to deliver that certain something, and they're always searching for it. So in the short amount of time that we had at the racetrack, I think it was very, very difficult to get that done.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony, he was like a cartoon character though, wasn't he?
Oh, he's very animated. The guy's fun to work with. I like him.
Yeah, he's fun, man.
I know a lot of other mechanics may be a little stressed about how much it makes a bike, change a bike and all that, but I don't mind changing the motorcycle. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's not possible to get the guys what they really, really looking for. And they have to be able to ride it within the window they have.
So I've got another question. Somebody says, and it's like A2B902. I don't know who that is, but
Okay.
he says he wants to know if you think that Motor America Superbike is hurting without Graves and Yosh in the series. Do you see them maybe coming back? Well, first of all, I don't think Graves was actually in Superbike.
No, Graves never a Superbike.
No.
They had a Graves sticker on the Yamaha factory bike.
Right.
And they gave Graves a lot of credit for those motorcycles. Those motorcycles were built over here at Yamaha in Cyprus.
Right.
So Graves never built a Superbike. He built some Formula Extreme bikes.
Yes.
And maybe he built some bikes for other people, club racers or whatever, but he never built any Superbikes. Right. He can attest to that.
Yeah.
But
I
think he's referring to Yamaha factory bikes over here from Cyprus.
Right.
And so in essence, we've taken over that program. So we have that program. So we're still there. Yamaha's still there. We're the official team. So if they were there and we had a team and we had Yosh, sure, that'd be better.
Yeah.
For sure. I was hoping Yosh would have stayed in it. Because M4 guys already had a Superbike. But I guess the cards weren't there for the amount of money the Japanese wanted to put in the program. And, at the end, Don Sakakura said it wasn't enough. So,
right.
He pulled the plug on it. Whether it was his choice or, when they throw something at him, it's like, okay, you got to lose millions of dollars to go racing. At some point, the guy said, no, I can't do that. No, I'm not going to sacrifice the company for that.
Yeah, I mean, Yosh, I've been kind of hoping that, Kawasaki comes back with Graves, like that'd be kind of cool to see other manufacturers coming in, or Honda even, they keep bragging about, they keep adding an R to the back of their, the name of their bike, right? Like, it's like R, like it's talk like a pirate bike now, right?
Yeah. Well, that'd be great if those guys ever came in and they're spending so much money in the motocross side, bike side that don't know. It's good that some of the other manufacturers get involved. We've got BMW more involved.
Yeah.
Ducati more involved. I mean, Ducati's kind of going after it in the 600 and the leader bike. Whether it's that team finding their own funding. Sounds like they're fairly well funded.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. And it's always been this debate: how much manufacturer funding should there be versus how much private funding there should be. And as the series gets more popular, they get more TV, they get better ratings, then maybe some of the private funding will come. I mean, that's the goal, right? Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of privateer guys that are doing it too. So, I mean, is the series suffering? I don't know if I would say the series is suffering, but it could always be better if you have more big teams coming out, so.
Well, I mean, look at World Superbike, right? So how tight's the racing there and how good is it? It's been some of the best racing I've seen ever.
Right.
Superbike. And MotoGP, same thing. And they don't have stock forks on those bikes and all the things that I hear sometimes say, oh, we should put stock forks on all the bikes. That'll make it more affordable. I don't think that's going to make racing any tighter. It just makes the lap time come down across the board.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, maybe it slows us down a few tenths or half a second by the time we figure out how to make a stock fork proper bike. I don't know. Making some more different ones of these things,
Oh, is that mine? Is that for me?
No, it's some stuff I'm working on. But anyway, so you make some of those, they're a little bit different, make the stock work a little better. And then the gap might actually be bigger to the guy.
I mean, I've personally been there when Cam Bobier was doing times that on a stock R1 that would be like club racing lap record level times.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that's
He was
that's
there
the
on that
connection between
borrowed
the.
pile that guy loaned him or whatever. And dude,
Yeah.
that he was ripping.
Yeah, so in our sport, it's always been this way. There's always been one guy that figures it out and he starts killing everyone. You can go back to, how far back do you want to go? Scott Russell,
Yeah.
Doug Chandler, Miguel Duhamel. You know, you start
Yeah.
seeing all these names, and they weren't racing a lot. They were like getting out front and then managing a gap. You've seen that a lot, all the way up to you know, Matt Mladen, Ben Spies, going forward, Josh Hayes, Cameron Bobier. You know, they had a little bit of racing when Tony came in, which made it good. That's why the Yosh thing would be good. But you know, so you had the Yosh time, you had the Yamaha time, and the biggest problem is I think there's not enough young guys coming up. That's why I wish Escalante was in there.
Yeah.
You know, to jump in the Superbike class, and regurgitating the same story over and over again isn't going to get you a different story. It's going to get you the same exact results. You know, so if those guys go through and they change the rules to make it a little bit more, whatever you want to call it, fair or financially affordable, it's not going to change a damn thing.
Right.
Zero. It's going to be the same exact results. We have to change a lot of stock fork tubes.
Let's see. Would World Superbike rules fit better in Motor America Superbike? I think they're pretty close, right? I mean,
they're exactly the same except for a transmission. We don't have a transmission, and we don't have the same shock they have. They have a newer shock than we do, one generation newer, and then we don't have the RPM limit they have. So one way we don't have an RPM limit. We can spin ours until it blows up. You know, so our RPM limit is the safety of the engine, and their RPM limit is some kind of balancing rule.
Okay.
You know, so they have a data logger on theirs where they track the RPM of the bike through the session, and then depends on how high they rev, they might get penalized. You know, how many times they go over, and they're able to see if they went over on a back shift or they went over on the quad.
Okay.
Yeah, so every bike's got their own RPM limit. Every class, like a Ducati's got a different RPM. I think it spins 16.2 the Ducati versus Yamaha, which is 14.9, I think. You can see the Yamaha can still win. It may not be the fastest on the straight line, but it's so good on the brakes and so good in the corners that it's you know, it can win. And then the Kawasaki's somewhere in between. It's fast. It's somewhat not. It's not as fast as Ducati, but it's pretty good off the corners. And obviously Ray rides it really, really well. You know, it's really good in the wet. Ray's really good in the wet. So you kind of see it's kind of a pretty good balancing act. And, you know, Yamaha was able to win their championship after 12 years, I think it is. I think Ben Spies was the last Yamaha Superbike champion. So I'm sure they're having a pretty good party over there.
Well, Yamaha this year kind of won everything, right? I mean, they won Motor America, they won
Japanese Superbike, they won BSB. So if you start at the bottom, then you know, Motor America, then you got World Superbike, MotoGP. I mean, you know, a lot of the off-road stuff. So yeah, it's been a good year for Yamaha as far as winning goes.
Yeah. It's quite cyclical though, right? I mean, like you said, everybody kind of gets their time. Well, not everybody, but it seems like teams get their time to win, you know?
Yeah. So to make racing tight in the US, I mean, I guess we should be even closer to World Superbike because their racing is very, very tight. And the riders need to be of that caliber.
You make everybody race two up.
Two up?
That'll tighten it up.
Who's the passenger? Sidecars. Now we're getting ridiculous.
Yeah, now we're getting ridiculous. Yeah, okay. So but how about some of those privateer guys, you know, like I guess Aguilar is not going back to Superbike. He tried and then I guess he couldn't get his money together or whatever. So
yeah,
it looks like he's going back to an R6.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's going to buy one of yours or build another R6 or whatever. But
you know, Joseph talks to him quite a bit, but I haven't talked to him.
Yeah, and then I guess what do you think of it? Is Hector Barbera coming back? Like,
I don't know.
That guy did pretty well on that bike.
I think he did. Yeah. I mean, it's always you know, those guys are always trying to find the funding, and it usually pops up at the last minute.
Right. Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and you know, like Kyle Wyman, like what's that guy gonna do? I keep hearing things.
I heard something about maybe he's gonna hop on the M4 bike.
Yeah, or I heard he tested it at Chuck Walla recently, but
Yeah. He
yeah,
he talked to us a little bit about a Yamaha. We gave him a bunch of information. And then he must have been, just basically trying to figure out what is the best path for him.
Right.
He was kind of over the Ducati, and I can see that because the HSBK Warhorse team got a lot of attention, and their results were really good for the most part. They crashed up a lot of bikes. Baz was not afraid of riding the crap out of that thing.
No, he was not.
Yeah. So whether the tracks didn't fit him or they couldn't figure out the bike fast enough or whatever, the case
Right.
he didn't win anything. But he did smash up a lot of stuff, and he got a lot of podiums. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And then the ultimate privateer guy is Aussie Dave, right? Like,
yeah, he talked to us. He talked to me a little bit at that Velocity International show thing that we did, because he was there as well, and he's thinking about probably riding the Yamaha one.
Wow.
And talked to him about the electronics that we use and helping him out with some start maps at every event, and like doing a little program for him where we supply him with the same maps that Jake's on.
Okay.
Or whatever our team is on, like what we start with, and they can fine tune it for their liking. And so working on a program like that to help some of these other guys, be at the same level of competitiveness.
Yeah.
So they're not out blazing their own path on a Motec system with, maybe a little more substandard strategies.
Yeah.
Well, torque-based stuff that we have, or World Superbike has, or Westby guys have, or Suzuki has. Like the M4 bikes, they have a really good, strong electronics package. That's a prototype package that the Yosh guys had.
Oh, okay.
So they don't have like a bad system. They just need to get a little more time on those motorcycles. And I told Chris Ulrich, I said they're welcome to test with us at Buttonwillow when we're there.
Yeah.
They can share the ambulance cost, and we'll go out and test, and maybe those guys get up to speed and get a little faster, a little closer, and do a little better that way.
Make a better show.
Make a better show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the show this year for second and third wasn't that bad. It's just Jake checked out all the time, so that. The second and third was up for grabs for sure.
Right. I'm predicting probably similar. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see, right?
I'm not predicting anything. I'm predicting we're going to have a lot of work this winter.
Well, that never changes at your shop, man.
No, we're not taking anything for granted.
No. Anybody that thinks that doesn't know what goes on in that shop.
Yeah.
When you guys are in there, like when I was in there last week, you're like, don't talk to Walker. He's got to put this bike together before he leaves. Don't make Walker help you.
Well, it's pretty easy to get distracted, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I got in there and I did what I had to do, and I got the hell out of there, because no way was I going to have Walker trip over whatever he was doing. But you guys are working on the bikes from the jump, right? I mean, you guys will probably test maybe a couple times this winter.
Yeah, I think we did 4 last winter, so probably something like that. We'll probably got to do some laps on the R6 before we go to Daytona.
Okay.
So that program's still coming together, but all the parts have been ordered, and boatloads of pipes and radiators and all kinds of stuff. I
know a guy that's involved in a race series that's going to have something in February at Buttonwillow.
February, yeah, maybe. Yeah, February is a doable date.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that guy should shoot me the date.
Okay.
But
I'll have that guy shoot you the date.
For the 8-lap races.
Yeah, 8 laps, and then there's a 18-lap race, and a 12-lap race.
Oh, that's a good amount of time.
So you guys could come and do that there,
February. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Let's make that work.
Yeah, I think I got that one. I might be able to pull off.
And I'll hook you guys up with the track day. Like I have like a
don't work for us.
I have a semi-private day on Thursday leading up to the race weekend.
Yeah, track days don't work for us.
The semi-private ones might.
Yeah, maybe so. Just the closing speeds are so great.
Yes.
Can't get any good. I mean, it's just dangerous almost.
Yeah.
You know, you saw what Jake does to you on that. You know, no one on the racetrack. Can you imagine those people on that?
Yep.
I don't know if we learn anything. That's the problem.
Wow.
So hey, I think next time we should talk about these things.
You know what? I think we should. You know, you and I have been talking about doing
What these things do.
Yeah, we called it Triple Clamp 101, right? I mean, what the hell is the purpose of the triple clamps? Like, what difference do they make? How does it change the bike? All that stuff. So
I think we should get into the dynamics of that, because I think a lot of people have no idea what's happening in the front of their motorcycle.
Well, they look cool. So there's that.
Oh, there's that, of course.
Priorities.
And there's those sweet spot numbers. The sweet spot.
Wow. We definitely need to do a triple clamps 101. So maybe the next video we'll do one.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
At least we can talk about the rake and trail and all those numbers and what they mean, and because we talk about electronics quite a bit, but you know, let's go over a little retro and talk about the chassis a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know you did a little bit of stuff, I think, back in the day with like 12 years ago or something with Dave Moss.
Yeah, 2009. Yeah, Dave Moss.
And your triple clamps back then looked quite a bit different than the ones that are available now.
Yeah, well, you know, computer power is a little more powerful now, so you can do a little more FEA. You can do a lot more things on a computer. You can set up all the dynamics there, and then you can apply it to racetrack, and so hopefully you can nail it with a couple of designs. You know, so again, that was one of the things that we did with Cameron last year. We were able to try like 3 different stiffnesses and things like that, different heights, different dynamics of the clamp, and he's able to pinpoint the ones that he liked the best and what the differences were, which is pretty amazing. A lot of guys are like, I don't know, it felt the same to me.
Yeah. Also, I mean, part of that too, like do you want to talk about, you want to add in the rake cup things, you know, the steering head stuff? Yeah.
We'll talk about rake. We'll talk about trail. We'll talk about all that stuff. The
1 degree, the half degree,
what it does, to trail number and all that kind of good.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm just the dummy club racer guy. That's like, yep, it looks cool.
I won't argue with you.
I knew that was coming. I just teed that up for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. It's have a happy Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, you too. Don't eat too much tofu turkey.
No, dude, that's for the Gagnes. I think
it's a Gagne thing, but for sure it's Tom Halverson and Jim Roach. And I made the mistake once of talking to them about food, and I got like a half-hour lecture. I'm like, I got to go look at some data real quick.
Oh shit. Hey, really quick, before we go, I got one more question from a guy. He says, this is the last question, I swear.
Yeah.
He says, if the opportunity was given for each team to pick their own tires for the season, like in the Daytona 200, would you switch?
What's that?
If every team at the beginning of the season for Moto America was given the opportunity to pick their own tires, would your team switch from what they're running now?
Back in the day, we ran Pirellis, and we were given all those tires, and some teams got budget with it. So I kind of miss those days, because that really helped with the budgets, like the cost. When they went to a spec tire, we all end up paying more. But with a spec tire came a little bit more money back from the series. So it was kind of a give and take, push pull thing. And the tire thing, it was a nice tire war, and but at the end, Dunlop always had a little bit extra in the United States. Jim Allen would go and have some specials made or whatever the case may be. So now we're all kind of on the same tire. So I took that out of the equation.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's ever going to go back to the tire war again. Every series on a spec tire.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. I like the idea of having a spec tire, but with multiple manufacturers. Like, let's say that every manufacturer has 3 different fronts and 3 different rears. That's it, and they have to call that spec for the whole year. And then the guys will be able to pick from that spec. Let's say I'm going to run Pirellis this weekend. I can run Dunlops next weekend. But it's available to everybody. There's no specials.
Right.
And you might be able to get the Pirelli team, the Dunlop team, or this team, or that team.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're dedicated for the year. Then everybody else, and then the other guys like, well, I'm a privateer guy, and I'm buying my tires. Therefore, I'm going to buy a Pirelli front and a Dunlop rear.
Right.
Because that's a combo I like. But then that would get more people, more manufacturers involved. I guess it gets a little confusing.
Well, there you go. You couldn't have said it better. I mean, that's the reality. I think it would be cool to have multiple tires as well, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the tires that Dunlop brought after that test were pretty damn good. Like, we worked on some of the things that the Pirelli did good, which was the front tire shape, the carcass. Yeah. Like at the end, Jake found a tire you could brake leaned over a lot better. It looked a lot more like what the world guys do. If you look at them, they're leaned over. If you looked at Top Rack or Ray or Redding, that thing's against the bump stop all the way to full lean and on the front. So they're really putting the maximum effort on that front tire. And then, that release point where they get back to the throttle, it's the only time the thing comes off the bottom. So it's pretty amazing how much those guys use that front tire. So if they were able to come up with a tire that's more like that in our series, I can see the lap times dropping significantly.
Yeah.
People learning how to brake and turn at the same time.
Yeah.
They had a rear tire too that was a little bit more even feeling from straight up to leaned over. So for the change direction, it was a little more consistent without a vague spot in the middle. So they made that better. And the lap time on a used tire was basically the same as a brand new tire from this year. So I think they're going to introduce those tires in next year as a regular tire. So I think the lap time should go better.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to. I think there's going to be more records broken again, right? I mean,
I think so. I can't take anything for granted.
Right.
Some Petrucci type or whatever can come and click with the bike, click with all the tracks and murder everyone. You never know.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
Good times. Thanks for the chat. It was fun.
No worries.
I guess
I can show you how slow you are. I will.
Oh, you do. You definitely do.
Yeah. All right, dude.
I have to add that to my compilation video of you talking smack.
That's right. All right, man. I'll talk to you
later. All
later.
right, dude.
Bye.
See you.